Okay, this is take two on the stream. Sorry about that, guys. If you're just joining me, I know why that happened. Happy Easter, everybody! It is Sunday evening at about 10:30 p.m. On Easter Sunday, and I don't know if you know it. That doesn't mean much in China. They don't really celebrate Easter here. So most people don't even know what it is. Easter. They've heard of it. They know it's about bunnies and chocolate, but the vast majority of them don't understand the religious aspects of it. Tyler, hey dude, welcome. If you don't mind, Tyler, I got a story about you I want to tell in this live stream. But I had an eventful week. Let me tell you guys. The reason why I haven't been posting any videos lately is because, well, my computer kept on crashing. So I have a Xiaomi Pro. Kind of can't remember the exact term, but it's the nice one. It's kind of like a MacBook knockoff, but it's a pretty high quality computer. I've been very happy with it over the last 2 years. And hey, Alex, welcome back. Good job on the live stream. I saw you over the weekend. It was great to see you out there, man. You're putting out some good content, man. You're one of my favorite new YouTubers, by the way. But anyways, so I got this Xiaomi, and it's been my go-to. It's been wonderful, and I have another laptop that's a Samsung that has been around for 4 or 5 years now. That one is still running, but it's running very slow. And the Xiaomi, I was getting the blue screen of death, and I think it was the editing software I've been using for my videos. At least that's what a buddy of mine has told me. Um, Yeah, they call it Resurrection Holiday. I've seen that actually in the WeChat moments. Some people saying Happy Resurrection Day. I think Alex was saying that. Uh, so, anyways, the blue screen of death was happening, and finally, I was able to back up the majority of my information, with the exception of one video, one that I was really, really proud of doing, and it was the hotel review I did of the Pullman Dongguan, and it was one of probably the best hotel video I ever made. I put a lot of hours into it, but I wasn't able to save any of the raw video or the final product before I was able to upload it. So my apologies to Dongguan Pullman and the folks there. It They really rolled out the red carpet for me and showed me a great evening. I was the only one in the hotel, completely empty, and it was such a unique experience of a beautiful property right in the center of town, but yet up against a mountain. And I'm so upset about that. I really am. But a friend of mine kind of walked me, to the Xiaomi repair center, and the consensus was we just needed to wipe it clean. And so we wiped it clean and started fresh with new windows. And if you don't know, Xiaomi products only come with Chinese windows. And so I had to reload an English pack onto it, which is it's not too complicated. There's tutorials out there to do it, but it gets complicated when you start trying to load, office products and things like this. So I'm finally able, over the last 2 days, been able to get my computer back up and running to the point where I can do a live stream. And I've got my raw footage from a couple of videos that I'll be putting out soon. One is just some updates about what life is like here in Zhongshan during this time. I go different places. I go to the mall. I go back to my gym. Gym has been reopened, and I go to the hospital. I've been going to the hospital a lot. I'll tell you about that in a second. And to a park and just general chatting. Kind of spilling my guts in the park kind of walk. And then I have my walkthrough with Fernando from China Teacher Brand. And that's going to be a long video. It's going to take a lot of editing to do. And then a couple more. I have another China Randoms coming out that is COVID-19 based. I have volume 3 of Eating in Zhongshan, which I finally finished the raw footage for. I've been filming this for about 6 months. This particular one. It's going to be about hamburgers in Zhongshan. And a lot of people come to Zhongshan and say, oh, there's no place to eat. There's no good Western. Where can I get a good hamburger besides McDonald's or Burger King? Well, there are some good places. And even though I've been trying to lose weight, I do maybe. The rule is, and I have this rule that in order to lose weight, I can only do one hamburger every other weekend. So it's taken a long time for me to film the great Zhongshan hamburger hunt. But I'm from LA. I love hamburgers. So it's our little secret between you and me. Don't tell anybody, but I broke that rule many times trying to get this video done. So that'll be coming out soon as well. Cheers, everybody. I'm drinking Captain Morgan for Easter today. And I also have this this chocolate. I think it's Russian. I think it's got some Russian lettering on it, but it's, see that there, Ozera. You know, because you can't have Easter Sunday without any chocolate. And I'll call my family tomorrow morning. It'll be Easter evening then. So that's what's been going on with me with the computer. Finally got it up and running. There's still some issues with it. Caramel. It's not 100% yet. So forgive me, I'm blind. My wife just bought a Huawei laptop. It's really great. It looks like a MacBook Pro and is touchscreen, so you can use it like an iPad. I thought when my computer was crashing, I looked at the Huawei, and they are pretty nice. I looked at the Xiaomi, a smaller one, and I also looked at the Apple, but I decided on none of them. I just decided to see if I can get this one fixed and started, because it's still a good machine, and I'm very, very happy with it. There was something. It must have been the editing software. I use Shotcut, which is a free editing software. I don't think that it's not a powerful product, and if you try to use 4K or try to layer too many things onto it, it'll just crash. So it's what you get for the free software, I guess. But I've also been using some older Windows Movie Maker and stuff for a few things, and that's unsupported now. And I think there might have been some malware in there somewhere. But anyways, it's wiped clean, and I also wiped the Samsung clean. So I got 2 working computers now, and I should be good to go. Yes, I know I have internet issues. By the way, I am coming to you from Zhongshan, China. So if for some reason the stream cuts out, hang in there, it'll come back. So if for some reason it disconnects on my end, I won't be able to see the chat. Right now I can see your chat, so if you have any questions or comments, please get them in right now, because in the last 2 live streams, when it cuts out, it doesn't reconnect the chat. And that's why I do these live streams. I do these live streams so that I can chat with all you guys about what's going on. Okay, so hi Mari, good to see you. I hope all is well on your channel. Howdy, your content is always good. Live chat might need different color mix up with lighting effects. Sound is good. Thanks, dude. The mic I got from a buddy of mine, Tyler, who got the same setup. I've been looking for a new camera to use. I haven't gone the route of using my iPhone as a video cam, or I told a story last week about trying to find, a Logitech camera in my city, and how that was a massive fail. And lighting goes, I haven't bought any lighting yet. So this is an ongoing thing. I'm going to do a setup behind me. As you can see, I got like maps, and I got my little flag, and it's all I got. It's still light years ahead of what it was a year ago as far as live streams go, but I hope to increase this as time goes on. I'm a poor teacher, so investing in equipment is always a little bit slow, I guess. So share my videos, watch my videos, and I can get some income. So yeah. Let's talk about this week. So this week, the big issue for me this week, number one, the gym reopened. Yay, okay, my gym reopened. In the previous weeks, the gym was open, but they were requiring me to give a 24-hour notice before I could go exercise. And I found out that's only because I was a foreigner, so they had this unwritten rule. And when I went in this week, I basically said, that's bullshit. And the boss kind of said, yeah, it is right, and they just let me go. So the gym is open, and I pay a lot of money for this gym. But there are no group classes. You have to wear a mask inside, of course. Very, very few people actually exercising. The swimming pool is clean and full, but they're not letting you have it shut down. Bummer. But at least it's a step in the right direction. The I also got to play badminton again. uh, I play badminton with my friends about once a week, Tuesday nights, and it's a lot of fun. It's a great way to get a sweat up, and a good bunch of people to hang out with for a couple of hours. Yeah, I know I have internet issues, guys. Hang in there with me. Anyways, I noticed that I'm not only really out of shape, but everybody's out of shape. Everyone is kind of rusty with their technique, but a couple of ankle injuries and I think a knee injury. So everyone in this town, I think everyone in this country is a little out of shape. And so we have to go back into it a little slowly, I think. Well, I got some more comments here, guys. Let me see. If you have a decent camera like a DSLR and HDMI output, you can buy a capture card and use that as a webcam. I don't have a DSLR. I'm not a photographer. Again, YouTube is just a hobby for me more than anything. I would love to upgrade my equipment, but I have to budget for it. I have other things that I'm trying to to finance over the next few months. Tyler, you know what I'm talking about. I really want to finance that that program you and I were talking about. I hope we can do it. We'll see. It's not looking good. I might have to wait until the fall to start that program. Saying that I used a Logitech webcam on Saturday morning. Yeah, the Logicam, if you watched last week's live stream, I talk about how there's a big fiasco of me trying to get into the computer mart, them not letting me in because I'm a foreigner, causing a huge uproar. And then when we finally found one, it's like the only one in the entire city. It was a fake. It was not a real one, and it didn't work. Dude, I can't breathe if I'm working out and wearing a mask. I have the same problem. Not only that, but the paper mask, you get sweat in it. But it's one of those things. Everyone was wearing the mask. I put on the bandana thing that you see me wear, but that's even hot. That's even hotter. So, do you think that racism in China will die or get worse? We'll talk about that later. Hello, Hope, because it is an issue that I'm looking to talk about tonight. Hope you're doing well. Cooking up waffles for the family here. Happy Easter, Joan. Thank you very much. Yeah, it'll get worse over the next few months, maybe. Okay, so for me this week, I've been staying busy. I've been going to the hospital. Not because I'm sick. I tell you, I made a little video about it, and it'll come out in the next couple of days, I think. I have a friend who has a little girl. She's about 10, 11 years old, and she recently had surgery. She had a couple of cysts removed from behind her ears. And, her family is very busy, and I'm not, so I volunteered to take this little girl to the hospital once per day to get the dressings on the incisions redone behind her ears. And she had this massive bandages and tape all on her face. And I would go there, and they have a completely different system than it was. It's the same hospital I went to get my shoulder done. But I was just going there. Everything was already paid for. All the paperwork was done. We just had to show up with her, basically. But I still had to fill out a ton of paperwork. Not a ton, but a little paperwork just to get past the nursing station to get into the hospital. And then once I'm into the hospital, the nurses and the other little steps you got to go to actually get to the treatment room. The first time I was there, people were kind of looking at me funny, They got a lot of questions and people kind of avoiding me. But it was quite a fiasco the first time. Each additional time was okay. The people recognized me and what I was doing there. But you sit down. It's a little painful for her, so you just hold her hand and tell her to breathe and stuff. But I spent most of my afternoons doing that. I made a little video about it come out. So, if the restaurants here I've noticed that most of the restaurants have opened, but if they're not open, they're never going to open at this point. It seems like the restaurant culture has come back. There's still some social distancing going on in many of the local restaurants as far as the tables are set further apart. It's not quite as busy as it used to be, but there's definitely a lot more activity out there. Hey, Fernando, thanks for joining me, brother. I'm gonna actually plug your podcast here in a little bit. Um, so you're asking me if the racism bothers me. We'll talk about that. I'm kind of don't want to go into it too deeply, I guess, but it's all over the news. It's hard to avoid. We will talk about it a little bit. Okay, so what else? Movie theaters are still closed. Oh, the schools are reopening. We're going to talk about that too. That's the big news that happened this week as well. Okay. And to all my friends back in America, I hope you are doing okay. And not just staying safe, but I hope you're staying afloat. I am following everything that's happening in America. I'm very, very concerned about the economy there. I'm concerned about COVID-19 too, of course. I'm a human being, but I think America is headed towards a very deep depression. And in my opinion, a lot of this could be avoided. But I've said my piece on that in prior videos, and so you can watch that if you'd like. Okay, so let's move on to today's. Oh, Tyler. So the first thing I want to do is, if you recall. Oh, well, I answered this question here. Q Ferries. Is the ESL industry getting better now? It's non-existent. So there is no ESL industry here right now. It's completely shut down. And there's very few teachers. All the foreign teachers, that is. The foreign teachers, most of them have left. And now, because of the ban, they can't come back. So all of us that are left here, are going to be very busy when the ESL community reopens. Now, as you guys know, I work at a college, and I was just talking with my friends tonight about how over the last few months, they did not want me teaching online. They said, okay, you're a lecturer, and that doesn't translate well to online classes, so no need, hang out. So I have been. I've been here the whole time, as all you guys know. And just today, they said, well, Paul, we'd like you to teach online. And they sent me an outline for this. It's a little ridiculous, really. Let me see if I can pull it up for you. Starting next week and for the next basically 2 months, they want me to prepare 6 weeks worth of classes, 90-minute classes, and plus 2 micro lessons each week recorded by yourself. Each micro lesson is 10 minutes apiece. 2 to 3 short videos of any kind of learning material, either made by yourself or downloaded online, which I won't do. I will always do it myself. And 1 oral assignment for the students each week. And you need to evaluate the students' oral assignments online each week. Now, that's the problem. That's the rub. The rest of this is easily done. I mean, I can adapt my lectures to an online environment. It's going to take a little bit of learning to figure out the software, because I'm never doing it. But I have 1,000 students that I'm responsible for. I mean, there's thousands of students here. To evaluate their oral assignments, each one of them, every week, is nearly impossible. So I'm negotiating with the college and saying, hey, what can we do to streamline this? That's kind of a ridiculous requirement. And I've never taught online, so there's going to be a little bit of a learning curve here when it comes to this. So we're working that out. My colleague is in England. He went to Thailand on holiday during Spring Festival, got stuck there. They canceled school, so he went back home to England to see his family, and now he's stuck in England, and he can't come back to China. And it's getting time. It's almost mid-April now, so it's getting about time to renew our work permits and our contracts for next year. And unfortunately, he probably will not be in China to accomplish that. Um, I'm assuming most of his paperwork is, I know his lesson plans and everything, is still here. His whole life is in the apartment here, but he can't come back to China. So his his residence permit will expire, and he might have to redo a Z visa all over again, which, he's been here 6-7 years. He hasn't done one in 6-7 years, so he's gonna have to redo all that paperwork to get him back into China, assuming that they open the borders again this summer for the fall term. We'll find out. Okay. So we'll talk about that as well. So let's go into, and if you guys have any questions, I'm going to pull up some articles. The first thing I want to do is plug my buddy's podcast. Well, that's not it. I don't know what that is. Hold on one second. Get rid of that. Okay. So as you guys saw, I went to Dongguan and participated in the Of Course China podcast. Let me pull this up for you guys here. Boom. Okay. Let's see. I don't know if I don't think the sound will play on this, but I'll play it here. So this is the trailer for the Of Course China podcast. Now he's got this girl here. That's me, a couple other dudes, one other girl here. Yeah. So this is Fernando from China Teacher Brand, and also Ziv from Here Magazine have geared up to start this very, very high quality podcast called Of Course China. I think this is the highest quality podcast you will see coming out of China. And it premieres tomorrow, April 13th. And I hope you guys can subscribe to this channel and watch it. I participate in it. Fernando, I don't know when, if you guys decided when mine will air. I guess it's maybe 3 weeks from now. Could be a month from now. I don't think the schedule is finalized on that one yet. But I'm really looking forward to this. It's going to be kind of a Joe Rogan kind of style. They'll have little clips, about a couple, maybe one or two per day throughout the week, and then the whole episode on Friday, and with a different guest each week. Now they've preloaded incredible guests. I mean, I'm small potatoes, but that's why I'm so thankful and happy that I got to participate in this. So there it is. Subscribe to it and check it out. It goes live tomorrow. Fernando, let me know if that's correct or not. Staying here is the best choice we ever made. It was a choice. There's good and bad with it. Right now, I mean, because don't forget, we were locked up for many, many weeks, 10 weeks, and we're still not out of it. Everyone's still on high alert here. Everywhere you go, the world here is not completely opened up yet. And everyone's really worried about what's going on outside of China, too. So they haven't let down their guard at all. So right now, you can have a little bit more of a sense of normalcy, I guess. I can go out to dinner. I can freely walk into a park. But that's about it. There's still... Yeah, that's about it, guys. Hey, Paul, I hope you're doing well. I am planning to do a video demonstrating how I am working online shortly. I would suggest a great platform called Loom if you don't have to do live classes. Thanks, Cobb. I have not pulled the trigger on online teaching simply because financially it doesn't make any sense to me to spend those hours doing it for the pay. It's not a good setup for me. And don't forget, there's a tax trap. If you go to benteachesenglish.overseas.com or his channel, he recently did a video about it. Ben Teaches English Overseas. If you want to understand the ESL community overseas, that's the channel, and he's the guru. And buy his book. And he recently did a video because he's also a finance guy. He knows how to invest money and build financial stability. He's been a great mentor to me, for me since the very beginning. He's an old troop just like me. And I mentioned it a couple of weeks ago, and then he did an in-depth video about it like 2 days ago about the tax trap that is online teaching. So remember, you're not an employee, you're a gig employee, you're a 1099 worker. So there is self-employment tax. No matter where you are, if you're an American, no matter where you are in the world, you don't qualify for the foreign income exclusion rate. So you have to file, so you have to pay self-employment tax, which is high, and it's not excluded. Foreigners will have a 2-month extension on visa renewals. Yeah, we're 1 month into that extension. Pay attention to that because there's only like another month left in that extension, and then it elapses. It's for ours. Ours expire in July, so I don't think that 2-month extension applies to my friend. Will China become more inwards after this? I can't see as many Chinese students going abroad to study. Well, they all came back because all the schools abroad closed, so all the students came back here. There's still a huge demand to study overseas. When all this is over, the Chinese students will go back to study overseas. There's still a huge demand for that. The Chinese culture is heavy on academic achievement, and studying abroad is still something that people strive for. Sorry, I meant Chinese university classes. I use Loom. But Cobb, you work at the Polytechnic school. Just a different Polytechnic school, but it's right down the street from me. But your classes are much, much smaller than mine. Mine are lecture halls of 100+ students. So I'm not sure that I'm still trying to figure out how I can transfer that type of lesson to an online environment. I mean, the material is there. It's just how to present the material and then how to get feedback. That's going to be the tough thing on a mass scale. I'm seeing lots of stories about restaurants and stores not allowing foreigners in. China blaming this virus on foreigners. I think it's that's a little simplified. What they're doing is they're just scared of foreigners because, the foreigners are easy to spot. I mean, they're scared of anyone with the COVID-19. And the vast majority of the people bringing it back into the country have been the Chinese students and Chinese people coming from abroad. It's like 9 in 10 are of Chinese descent or Chinese nationals. But, when I walk down the street with my face, I'm easy to spot, and they just think, oh, well, America is kind of blowing up right now. I'm an American, so I must be dangerous. It's unfortunate, but it is happening. It continues to happen to me, regardless of the health certificate app that I have. It still happens to me. What's going on in Guangdong is really disgusting, and you don't need me to talk about that. You already know. Okay. So, one last time, check out, of course, China podcast starting tomorrow. Really first-class setup. It's going to be a wonderful, wonderful show. Okay, foreigners equally treated must abide by Chinese laws. Let's talk about this because in our WeChat groups, there have been story after story from the expats living in this community that have faced issues with discrimination in public places and private businesses. Whether it's you going into an office building to have a meeting or going out to dinner at night to a restaurant or simply going to the park. I've talked about the stories of how I went to the police station and the police officers were scared of me and they asked me, don't stand in line, stand on the other side of the street. I have a friend who was denied entry into the zoo. I've been denied entry into the computer mart, restaurants, a park, even if I have the app. And just this week, it happened to me again where I was denied service at a pharmacy. Now, I wasn't going in there to buy medicine. I was there to buy the Joe, which is the kind of an immune booster. You put it in hot water. It's like drinking tea, basically. It's a, the equivalent might be like vitamin C, you know, and they wouldn't serve me and they asked me to leave. And I reported that. It's unfortunate that these things are happening, but it does happen and it's very rare, but every foreigner in China has their story regarding this. And when we brought this up, our news is flooded with articles like this. It says foreigners are equally treated. This is coming from the government, that the government wants everyone to be equally treated. But then if you scroll down, it talks about is it this one? Yeah. If you scroll down, it talks about the laws that you must abide by. And it basically says all foreigners need to abide by these Chinese laws. And that's a given. Of course we do. So don't break the law. But unfortunately, on top of that, other things are happening. This will pass. And I do know that almost every single one of my Chinese friends who I've talked about with this think it's disgusting as well. So it's not the entire country that this is happening, and it's not every foreigner. This is just happening with a few bad apples out there, and every country has them. And, all right. Happy Easter. What's up? As long as there is the desire with the Chinese to go abroad to study, the international schools will exist. I think there will be less than before, though. Matthew, we talked about this. Tyler and I talked about this on our hike. We were wondering, what the demand would be for English when this is all done, and how the demand curve, the supply curve is obviously down, but the demand curve is unknown. No one really knows yet. The cards are still falling into place and will continue to fall for quite a long time. Okay. I see. In some of my larger classes, I have 40 plus, but I understand what you mean with the size of your classes. It's a work in progress to present the classes online. Keep safe, bud. Thanks, Cobb. My classes are around 100 students. Some of them are even higher than that. This year they were a little smaller. We had a smaller intake. But that's just the way that's just the way I deal with it, and the way I present. I'm a lecturer, guys. That's my gig here at the college. I am not a one-on-one teacher. I would love to work in that, and I've talked about maybe moving on from the college and gaining more experience in an international school, perhaps, or going back to work for a professional training center. Not one of these ones in the mall, maybe one that's a little bit more upscale in a first-tier city. I've talked about going to be an IELTS examiner, which pays very well, but it's a tedious, boring job. There's other evolutions to the ESL community. It's not always just teaching primary schools, teaching in mall training centers, or teaching in universities. There's many options available to you as you go along with your career. I don't know what that will be. I will hopefully decide that soon. I'm excited to see what Austin's got planned. This is his last year at Chengdu University. I'm hoping, and he's going to share what the next evolution of his career is. So watch him. He's another great English teacher here in China. His channel's very, very good. Okay, we got 12 guests already releasing weekly. We got in week 3. Thanks. So week 3, you can watch my podcast on, of course, China. So 3 weeks from now, and starting tomorrow at 10 a.m., we'll see the first one. Very excited about that. Steve says, what do you think, Donald Trump opening America 1st of May? It's not up to him. It's up to the governors. Jacob, it's a shame. I'm a teacher here in the States and have been hoping to make a move to international teaching this upcoming year. Unfortunately, I don't see that happening now. Not sure the demand will. Well, keep going for it. Jacob, my guess is things can't stay like this forever. The world will find equilibrium. And that's in all industries, and that also includes the education industry. And international education, I think, will continue to skyrocket as the world becomes smaller. So there's always going to be a demand for it. There's going to be less. There's going to be more reluctance for teachers to travel. So there might be a higher demand for people who are willing to take those steps. You never thought that platforms are kind of scammy, but the pay that they advertise is not what ends up in your bank account at the end of the day. So you have to be very, very careful with contracts. I thought this was a good gig, holiday for traveling and job security. Yeah, it is. Teaching is a wonderful gig. I've been a businessman most of my life. I was a soldier for a while. I was an airman. And then I went into business. I was a hotel manager. And I did real estate and real estate finance. And I was pretty good at all of those. But man, it's a lot of hours, and you work really hard, and you're always a bootmaker to kings. And I always dreamed about becoming a teacher, but I thought I would do it when I'm an old man. So I just got into teaching a little bit quicker, mostly because I had my wanderlust bug was biting me, and I needed to get overseas, and this was a great way to do that. The original plan was just go to Asia for a year and then head off to the Middle East, use my connections from the military to, get a job in northern Iraq or something, making big bucks. But I fell in love with China, and you can't go to the movies or go out to dinner in northern Iraq. So you can have a much nicer life in China. And when I got to China, I talked about this too. When I came to China, I realized how much I didn't know about it, how ignorant I am of the culture and the people. And I did not like that feeling. But I did like the feeling of learning every day. So it was an opportunity, and it still is. You can be here your entire life and not learn everything. So every day I learn something new, and every day I see something in a different light. So that's why I've stayed in China. I don't enjoy teaching online. Unfortunately, it's been hard enough transitioning to that with this lockdown. I brought this up. This is going to be in my my interview I did with Fernando. He's got a lot of experience teaching, and he's got a couple training centers. I've never taught online other than like a one-on-one, Skype call here and there, which I actually don't like. But has this whole situation accelerated the online game? Is this going to be the new normal? And are teachers who are used to being in the classroom, are we going to have to incorporate some kind of online elements to our classes? And are these skills that we need to learn? This is a topic that I've been trying to research, and I'm not 100% sold on it. But the longer this goes on, the more I'm starting to think maybe I'm a little bit behind the curve when it comes to this online teaching thing. I need to understand these platforms. I need to understand the teaching techniques, which are hugely different online as opposed to in the classroom. So it's something that I really need to look into a lot more. Great questions, guys. Thanks, everybody. This is good comments. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Over 6,000 foreigners have been quarantined in Guangzhou. The Health Commission in Guangzhou announced that on April 7th, 32,000 people have been quarantined, 63,000 of them of whom were foreign travelers or residents. Among all quarantined foreigners, 3,400 are reportedly staying in hotels and rented houses in the cities. Help me out with this, guys. I can never pronounce that. It's one of the main districts in Guangzhou. Many of them are from the United States, Mali, Nigeria, Canada, and Australia. And then it goes into the recent ones. While people are asking not to panic, it is highly recommended that they continue following social distancing rules and maintaining a constant healthy hygiene as one should on a normal daily basis, regardless. Yeah, so that's the main fear right now that I see out there. So people are being quarantined, right? And it's not just those people, it's everyone that those people came in contact with. So, if you got a buddy who you played badminton with and he is all of a sudden quarantined, well, you're going to get a knock at your door, and now you have to be quarantined. And by the way, this is at your own expense. So you have to pay for the hotel. Yeah. So that's the scary part, I think. Even if you're not sick, you're going to be put into this quarantine thing. Matthew, great question. Matthew asks, if schools and colleges are opening soon, how come they've asked you to prepare for 2 months worth of online classes? The schools are open. I'll just pull it up right now. So Guangdong schools to reopen in different waves after April 27th. So here, all schools are reopened in different ways after April 27th, according to the announcement Guangdong province on April 9th. The provincial do the Gaokao. And the Gaokao has been delayed for 1 month. It's not going to be in July. May 11th and after, other secondary school students, primary school students, schools will have their students return in different ways based on local epidemic control status. Here in Zhongshan, that is going to be May 11th. So basically 1 month from now is what they're planning. Now, this could all change. If there's that second wave that everyone's scared about. They might just cancel classes or push them further into the summer. So a lot can happen in 4 weeks. Hell, a lot can happen in 4 days. But right now, people are preparing May 11th for most schools in Guangdong, April 27th for senior secondary school students. The opening date of kindergartens and special schools is still under discussion, and the public will be notified in advance. So kindergartens and special schools, that includes training centers, private training centers. Still no date, but everyone's assuming it'll be around May 11th when these other schools begin. The department stressed training agencies must not resume offline classes before kindergartens resume. So they're going to do training centers and kindergartens at the same time, it sounds like. But there's no date for that. And I know most of these businesses are, come on, let's go. And I know some of them are not going to make it. And I feel really bad for those people. I really do. Here, university, colleges, and vocational schools. This is where I fall into. May 11th and after. Senior students of universities and colleges based on both local status and the school's medical supplies. That does not apply to me because my students here at the college are all freshmen. So my lectures are for first-year students. It's compulsory English training. Second, third, fourth-year students do not take English unless they're English majors. So this May 11th is not my start date. Although there'll be students coming back to the campus at that time. My students will not. Well, they might be here, but they won't be taking classes yet. May 18th and after, other students of universities and colleges, students of vocational schools who will have their students return in different ways based on the students' characteristics, local status, and medical supplies. So May 18th is the date that my students are planning on returning. Now, the term ends like a week after that. So it's unknown if I will ever see a student face-to-face this term. I think they just want me to do the online classes and be done with it and then come back next school year. Back to school plans for teachers. Schools which meet the requirements to resume studies can bring their teachers back to school 1 week in advance of the opening date so that they can prepare for the new semester and set up measures for epidemic prevention. So that's the thing. This just came out like 2 or 3 days ago. So this is the big news. Here at my college, I still see students coming on to the campus, but they're essentially just getting their things from the dorms and leaving like an hour later. So no one's moving in. But I mentioned like 2 weeks ago, there was a teacher, I think he's a math teacher who lives right above me. He moved in with his 2 little boys. And I've seen 3 other teachers move into the faculty housing, which is my building. It's not a lot of apartments. There's maybe 10 apartments for the faculty, and I live in one of them. So we've got a total of maybe 5 teachers. The administrative building on the bottom side of the university has been open for many weeks, and you see a lot of the administrators and department heads have been going there for meetings. But the upper side of the campus where I live has been closed off completely still. That has changed. Just a couple days ago, they are now manning all 3 gates. There's the main gate that's open 24 hours a day, and then the other two gates are now manned during business hours during the day because there's a lot of construction workers here. So our classrooms have been getting completely redone. They got new wiring, new paint, new blackboards. Yes, chalk blackboards, not the whiteboards. New speakers, new lighting, and they look much better. So, but in addition, there's a massive construction project just down the hill from my apartment. They brought in the heavy backhoes and a lot of the heavy equipment. They've done all the demo work mostly. Still got a little bit of foundation work, foundation demoing to do. But they're going to be building 3 new towers of classrooms and offices here at the college. It's going to be a little over a year's worth of construction. But they've already blocked off with these blue corrugated steel fencing out where I park my car. And they're going to demo this giant retaining wall, extend it out, and then build some basketball courts out there. So the renderings look really, really nice. We'll see how it's all in. But it's going to be a massive construction project that is starting right now. That means no daytime naps for me over the next year. All right, let's go back. Let's see what you got. Howdy, Uncle Foreigner. It's a fair point in terms of the ESL field. I believe that face-to-face interaction is too critical in the K-12 field here in the States, though. School is an escape from home life here. It's an escape from everywhere. Face-to-face schools will think that the classroom-based learning is here to stay. That Christmas egg with the CPC, I think you mean CCP flag, is really ironic. It is a little bit. I can't believe I found it. Really enjoying the show. Thank you, Nicholas. Hope all is well. Thank you, Nicholas, for your message, by the way. I'm doing fine. I just, my computer was broken all week. So, sweet red tea egg is the southern traditional dessert. Really? I didn't know that. Okay, going back to this. Let's see. What do we got here? Foreigners who flout quarantine rules could face a 10-year ban. So, when I mentioned some of the problems that many foreigners have been having, it's not an easy time to be a foreigner in China. Here in Zhongshan, it's not so bad. This is an amazing city, and I love it here. I mentioned this recently someone said that I was a government shill, that my videos are lying to you because I'm so-called pro-China, and that I can never be honest with you for fear of retribution from the Chinese people and the government. And I'll just say this: my videos and my message and what I say to you is absolutely the truth. It's what I believe. It's from the heart. I don't make anti-China videos because that's not the content that I want to make. Even if I had the freedom, I don't have the freedom to make it, by the way, and everyone knows that. When you come to China and you work here, part of the requirements is that you don't talk about certain things, and that I can't remember the exact wording on it, but it's something like don't disrupt the harmony of the country. And that's fine. I'm a guest here. I wouldn't go to a neighbor's house and critique their furniture. That's my mother taught me better than that. So I give you objective views, but I try to keep it positive because I like to think of myself as a positive guy. So there's a couple of YouTubers out there that have accused me of being of lying or not being completely truthful to you. Well, you can make your own determination on that, but I can tell you guys right here, right now, that of course I'm not lying. You guys see in my videos exactly what I see, and most of it is like me doing my best Huell Hauser impersonation. Wow, look at that. Okay. So, foreigners who flout quarantine rules could face a 10-year ban. Basically, if you don't follow the laws, you will be arrested and you won't be allowed back for 10 years. And these are in extreme cases. As COVID-19 has raged around the world, many Chinese have complained of a spike in racist and xenophobic attacks as a result in Western countries. As Beijing seeks to curb the rise of import cases, There are fears that similar discrimination could be directed towards foreigners living and working in China. You're seeing that happen, and nobody likes it, including the Chinese. They think it's stupid and disgusting. All the Chinese people. It's the world we live in. Welcome to the world. That's all I gotta say. A lot of people are like, "Oh my God, look at this happening. Oh my God, look at." My response is, that's life. That's the world we live in. Okay. Now, Guangdong schools will be equipped with medical staff. So they're going to continue to monitor all the students. They're going to watch it very closely. That's why they're doing it very slowly and letting schools back in, because they are scared of this. So hopefully, we have medical staff here at my college. It's like a 90-year-old dude down there. He's a very nice guy, but yeah, he walks very slow in between his cigarette breaks. So, but yeah. Guangdong demands the testing for all school staff. So I have not been tested yet for COVID-19 as far as this is concerned. But many people are, and I'm going to have to get tested. I mean, part of the requirements for my residence permit is to have a health check. And I'm almost guaranteed that this year's health check will include a COVID-19 test. There are all these reports about all these foreigners get knocks on the door saying, "Let's test you." That hasn't happened to me yet. However, people are telling me to be prepared. The staff here said be prepared that they could come on the campus and test me. That's fine. They say they're testing all the foreigners. There's rumors that they're testing Africans and South Africans first. And then they're moving on to Europeans, and eventually will come to Canadians and Americans. I don't know if that's true or not, but I have no problem with them testing people. I mean, it's a free test. It's it'll give me peace of mind, really. I mean, I take all the precautions that I should be taking when I'm out and about. I've been watching for a while. You seem to be very objective on both sides. Thank you. I try to be, Jacob. I really do. But the truth that I give I've said this in my videos, and I'll say it again, that everyone's experience here is going to be different. They're going to treat you differently than they treat me, and that's based on a number of things. It's based on my age. It's based on my skin color, my nationality. It's based on my education, my position in society here, how long I've been here, how good or how well I speak Chinese. All of these things are going to influence the way I'm treated in China and where anyone's treated in China. But the number one thing is your attitude. The vibes you put out on the world will be the vibes you get back. This is something they teach you in the service. When you're in a dangerous neighborhood, and I've been in neighborhoods in my civilian clothes where I know people want to kill me. And they warned you, Paul, don't go down there. You'll get killed. But they tell you, look, if you're going to do it, have a smile on your face and put good, positive vibes out there, because that's what you get back. The smile goes a long way. So if you have a very negative or defensive view of the world, then people are going to be treating you that way, and you're going to get a much different experience. Attitude goes a long way when you're living anywhere. Seen your videos, but not sure you got there. Was your first experience from travels or through work? Hopefully, when all this is settled, I'm looking forward to traveling there for the first time. I've traveled off and on throughout my life. As when I was in the service, I did a lot of traveling, especially throughout America. But Europe, Middle East. I had never been to Asia, and my original plan was to go to Korea. China was a little intimidating for me, and when I came to China, I realized it's nothing what I thought it was. It's nothing what the majority of people have a perception of China in the West, and that's not what it's like when you get here. It blew me away within the first day. I said, "This is not what I thought it was going to be." It's just different, and I've been spending the last 4 years learning about the differences and seeing it. But I came here to teach, and I've stayed teaching. So there's blame to go around. I definitely think there needs to be stricter enforcement on wildlife trade there in other countries, but I won't go as far as blaming them for or calling it the Wuhan virus. You can call it whatever you want. I think this whole controversy over the name of the virus is kind of lame and a waste of time. Doesn't I don't care what you call it. If you want to call it the Wuhan virus, call it the Wuhan. I don't, COVID-19, fine. Doesn't make any difference to me. As far as blame, that I don't think we're at the stage where we should be pointing fingers. We should be. I talked to my father about this recently, and I think he was in agreement with me, which politically we almost never agree. We always have very spirited debates, but uh, this is an opportunity. Yeah, a lot of things, a lot of bad things are going on, but this is an opportunity for countries who are usually adversaries to show a little leadership, extend an olive branch, and try and improve relations. That includes America and China. Rather than pointing fingers and blaming each other and saying this is your fault, no, it's your fault. I think this is a waste of time, and it's a waste of a great opportunity. And we need leadership on both sides to acknowledge this fact and say, people are in need. Let's put aside this squabbling and get the shit done. Do what needs to be done. It's unfortunate. Okay. So last one, Guangzhou conducts the asset detection on personnel from. In Guangzhou, they conducted all persons entering the city with high-risk countries, local authorities said on Friday. As of Thursday, Guangzhou had performed, is it nuclei? I don't know how to pronounce that. Acid tests on about 4,300 personnel from high-risk countries and put them under health management, the Guangdong Provincial Health Commission told the press briefing. The health management refers to isolation from medical observation. The move has detected a number of confirmed cases of COVID-19, said Tang Xiaoping, director of the Provincial Health Commission. Earlier, Guangzhou had carried out a comprehensive screening on people who entered the city from overseas since March 8th, but have not been included in the home or centralized isolation medical observation. As a result, 21,000 inbound personnel have been put under health management and undergone the nuclei acid tests. Since March 15th, Guangzhou had reopened a total of 114 imported cases as of Thursday. Not bad. Again, they're watching it very closely, as they should, and everywhere you go, you've got temperature checks and controlled entry, even though we're technically on a low status, low risk status. But they still haven't opened the movie theaters, and everywhere you go, people are watching you carefully. Okay. Let's see. Have you read 1984? No, I haven't, but I'm very aware of what it contains. I haven't read the book, but I'm very aware of the book. Says you made the right choice in choosing China since Korea is depressingly awful and wages are terrible compared to China. You should do a chat with Daniel Drumbo. Rory, Daniel has reached out to me to do a chat. He's a little bit more of an influencer than I am, so I'm kind of letting him lead the way on the development of that. He asked if we could do a chat together. I would love to. I mean, that guy is smart. I hope I can keep up with him. He's so articulate. But I'm a fan of his channel. I'm a fan of his logic. I think he's a very smart guy, and I like him a lot. So hopefully we can get together and do that. Shenzhen is not far from me. I actually feel the same. Oh, but by the way, the comment about Korea. I have some tattoos here, and I didn't. The Korean government wanted to approve of my tattoos. I didn't like going that far, and it's everyone knows about Korea. You just go online. There's tons of information, and you can learn about South Korea, this small little country, in no time. Whereas China is this giant country that's been closed off to the world for so long, and not many people in the West truly understand it, as Chinese don't truly understand the West. And I saw that as an opportunity, and I wanted to jump on it. And that's why I decided on China. It's not the money; it was the opportunity to expand my knowledge and my understanding of the world as a whole. Why not go to the other superpower in the world? I actually feel the same way, but I just mean in terms of somebody like Trump proposing calling it the Wuhan China virus after months of calling it the corona to be devices and put blame. It's unnecessary. Of course, it's unnecessary. He's a jackass. Yeah. You guys know I've never liked Trump. Even back when I was in real estate and we read all his books on how to be a real estate guru and how to be ruthless in business, I still thought he was a clown then. I've always heard great things about South Korea. That's right. Now I have Jacob. I've never been to South Korea, so I can't tell you 100% what it's like there. I'm just, I when I was in the service, I had many friends who were stationed there. In fact, I had orders to go to Kunsan when I got out. It was my choice. I could re up for another 4 and head off to Kunsan, which is south of Seoul. It's kind of at the time it was countryside. I have no idea what it's like now. And I elected to get out and restart my career in real estate. But from what I understand, South Korea is an incredible place to go. As far as an ESL market goes, it's heavily saturated. There's a lot of Americans there teaching English, so yeah, that depresses the salaries. And you're going to work in the hogwons, so a lot of the hogwons are family owned, and I've heard different stories about how they're run. I had one picked out. I interviewed, and I was going to go, and it was the last minute that I switched my attention over to China. Okay, so let's talk about some other things I got coming up. I talked about the videos I got coming out soon, the hamburger hunt, another China randoms, my talk with Fernando, which basically it's just me talking with him, trying to get to know him more. He's been in China for 20 years and really kind of a foreign ambassador for the city of Dongguan. And so I picked his brain a lot. I had some audio issues with part of that interview that I'm not going to be able to use, unfortunately. But I still think I can get a lot out of it. That's going to take a little while to edit. So I got a couple other ones I'm doing now. Let's see. I'll be launching my website soon. If you're an American and you're overseas, you are entitled to the stimulus check. For me, I'm a single man, so it's $1,200, and you are entitled to that no matter where you are, even if you haven't filed your tax returns, which you should. By the way, you are required to file a federal tax return, even if you make if you make money overseas, you still have to pay taxes on that money. You are taxable everywhere you go. You just file the form 2555, which is the foreign income exclusion. So if you make less than like something like a little over 100 grand, then you have zero taxable income. Now, if you haven't filed in a couple of years, don't worry. As long as there's no taxes due, then there will be no penalty. So if you've got 3 years where you haven't filed because you've been overseas, file it now. Include your banking information, and you should get your check direct deposited. I have filed, of course, but because I didn't receive a refund of any kind, and I have no taxable income, so I didn't have to pay, I have to go to the IRS portal, which is not open yet, for the people who have filed, and give them my information. That might be a problem. We'll see if I can get that done. Oh, okay. Sorry about that, Jacob. All right. Any other questions for me, guys? I hope to start a PayPal account as well. Over the transferring money in and out of China is a video I did. There is a new method that I have become aware of about having a PayPal business account, and you can transfer money via that way. I'm still researching it, but I hope to get that done. but I hope you'll be able to buy me a coffee soon. And I hope that. Well, hold on. Oh, tonight's drink of choice is Captain Morgan. Prices for liquor have gone up for foreign liquor. You know, maybe about 20% higher now. And some of, I'm a Jim Beam guy. I'm usually Jim Beam and Captain Morgan are my drinks of choice. And other than Walmart, I haven't been able to find Jim Beam. The international foods seem to be lacking lately. I hope to start a Patreon account. I don't know much about it. I've been researching it a little bit, but if you guys want to support me on Patreon, I could use the money. You guys talked about my setup here and how it needs to be upgraded. Well, I guarantee you any money that I make off YouTube, which is not a lot, it's really not a lot. Any money that you would send me on Patreon, I would use to upgrade my equipment, my editing software, because I use free editing software. This microphone is probably the most expensive thing that I have. No, that's not true. I have a couple DJI, but I'd like to get a drone, of course. So any investment you make in me goes right back into this channel. I'm not using it to I'm not using it to chase girls out there, I promise. All right, a couple more messages. Jacob, it's terrible work environment. A lot of backstabbing and lies, and there's no culture. It's okay if you just want to live somewhere exotic, but China beats it hand down in every way, I feel. You should use Zoom or Klassen for your online class. It's fairly easy to use and works well with large classes. I'll look into that. They want me to use something called Superstar. That's the platform that they're already using. I downloaded the app. I haven't logged in. I haven't played with it, but I'll play with it a little bit. Is that Baijiu? Is that what that says? Rustbox? Oh, Tyler, what's the story about you? I'm sorry, you waited this long for me to. I was. I'll buy you a drink next time. Yeah, Tyler, I could use a drink, brother. By the way, I went to hamburgering today. It was okay. It was the last place I needed to film for the hamburger video that I'm doing. It was okay, not bad. Burger, fries, and a drink for something like 55 RMB. I thought the burger was a little undercooked, a little rubbery in the meat. Not my favorite. I still think hands down Jam Cafe and Yellow Sub are the best ones. Of course, I love my buddy here at American Pie. He's the closest one, and that's a man's hamburger. That's a big juicy patty, man. As far as balance and presentation, I have to give it up to Jam and Yellow Sub. Yes, it is Baijiu. I've drank Baijiu before. I don't mind Baijiu. I'll drink it. It's fine. Depends on the company I'm with, I guess. Best way to transfer money out of China is with Alipay, but you need a Chinese person so you can trust. Send the money. Yeah. And the problem with that is also you put them at risk for audit. So you don't want to raise any red flags. The annual ATM withdrawal amount, it used to be 500 US dollars per day, but now it's something like 10,000 US dollars per year. Don't quote me on that. I have to research that and do another update. The rules change all the time, but they are still have a capital flight issue here, I guess. Yeah, with the casinos in Macau closed down, there's running out of ways to get money out of the country. You had the chicken burger, but did you add fries and a drink on top of that, right? I didn't try the chicken burger because, I need a chicken burger with white meat. Most of the chicken burgers here in China are dark meat, and I'm not a dark meat kind of guy. I like that, chicken breast white meat. So I'm always scared to order the chicken burgers. But a hamburger is beef, and I'm a hamburger guy, dude. I don't know if people realize this, but Los Angeles, Southern California, is like hamburger mecca. You know, it's the birthplace of McDonald's, but there's all kinds of gourmet do-it-yourself burger places. I mean, if you're a burger fanatic, Los Angeles is the place to be. And I'm from there, and so I I'm pretty picky about my burgers. Special, but uh, Tyler and I went hiking, and he's kind of gotten back into hiking a lot lately. And part of my video was what we as foreigners can do to um, during these times when foreigners are kind of scrutinized and kind of looked at funny and people are a little scared of us. We can step up and do extra things within the community to show a good example, to show that we are not scary individuals, that we are part of the fabric that makes China. We're a small part of it, but we're an important part, and we live here. This is our home, and we want people to treat us as their neighbors. And if they treat us poorly, we should not stoop to their level. We should make them rise to a new level, you know? And again, this is an opportunity to increase the cooperation between peoples and not separate us even more, which is all this naming, you know, the virus and everything that goes by. So I mentioned uh, just me taking that little girl to the hospital every day, you know, and just walking, holding her hand through the hospital, providing that support. But what Tyler does is when he goes hiking, he actually picks up trash on the hiking trail. And if you go to you've seen my videos, you go on hiking trails, there's trash everywhere. There's plastic bottles, there's cigarette butts, there's beer cans, and many of the because the trails here are not maintained. They don't have guys that go around and pick that stuff up. So he does it, and I guarantee you there may be one or two people that see him actually doing it. But it doesn't matter, you know. He's still gonna go pick up trash and then throw it out. And those little things, it's not big things. There are many foreigners out there that have massive resources that can do large things for the community here, and that's great. But us little guys, us teachers that are not rich and just regular Joes, we can do little things here and there. You know, um, you can adopt a family and buy groceries for them if you still got a paycheck. Because many families here don't have a paycheck anymore; they're struggling. You can. He also mentioned giving blood. You know, I don't know if they'll let me give blood, but the idea is good. Why not? You know, if you're healthy, go give some blood. Uh, you know, there's a million different things you can do within your community, and I think it would show a great example. This is an opportunity for that. Let's talk about money. Go down to your local Guangdong and ask. I've transferred money that was plenty of times and know a few people who have never had a problem or concern. I shouldn't speak so soon, though, I guess. Yes. Yes, Tyler, I want to go donate some blood. I'm sure we're going to need to do the COVID test before we go, but I'm happy to do that. I think that would be a wonderful thing to do. I'll do that with you, dude. How strict are things there regarding the virus compared to, say, Beijing or Hubei province? What do you think the border might be open again to foreigners? That's a great question. I've never been to Beijing. I've only been to Hubei once. So I can't speak to what the culture is like in Beijing. I understand that northern China culture is much different than southern China. Uh, Beijing, because it's the capital, has stricter rules. Hubei obviously has stricter rules. Um, all of Guangdong is on a low level, except for just a couple of districts in Guangzhou, Foshan, here and there where they've elevated it to a medium level, but everyone's still on a low level. Now, don't confuse that. That doesn't mean it's on no risk. It just means a low risk. So there's still controlled entry into most private businesses. Um, Most of the roadblocks are gone. I haven't seen any roadblocks lately, but temperature checks. I mean, just today, I'll give you an example. I drove to the coffee shop. So I went to the coffee shop, and as I drove into the parking structure, they took my temperature. Then as I walked into the mall, they took my temperature. And then I went to the supermarket to get a salad. And when I walked in the supermarket, they took my temperature. And then when I went to the coffee shop, they took my temperature again, and I had to fill out some, a little form with my phone number and stuff. So that's 4 times in maybe 15 minutes. And everyone's wearing a mask, and there's hand sanitizer everywhere. There's soap in all the bathrooms. People are social distancing. They're not chatting you up in the elevator like they normally do. They don't come over and talk to you. you know, um, so they're still on high. There's a lot of awareness of it here still. So things are far from back to normal. I mean, there's little things that we can do to have a normal life again. Going to a restaurant, meeting some family. I think next weekend we're gonna go do a birthday party out at a mountain, and do a little hiking, But that'll be like the first massive gathering I think we see. Mm. How strict are? It's super common. Like just like people working out of the ZV, people usually don't get caught. I would never recommend someone do it though. Stay safe, man. Yes, don't do illegal things. That's a comment that might be a very um, valid point. Is that in Guangzhou you see a lot of people who are being discriminated against. You don't need me to talk about it. You know what's going on. If especially if you're black, it seems like you got the short end of the stick. What's going on in Guangzhou is pretty sad. But don't forget, a lot of those people are here on tourist visas and doing business, so they're scared of losing their livelihoods. That's in conjunction with everything else that's going on. I think. Um, yeah, don't remember when they banned the foreigners. It basically reset all the visas. So if you were here on a work visa or a tourist visa and working and just doing visa runs across the border to keep that valid, you can't do that anymore. So you either leave completely and not come back, or you overstay your visa. Now, if you get caught by the authorities, guess what? You're going to jail. So there's a lot of fear out there among the people who are working here illegally. I've talked about this many, many times. Make sure your paperwork is in order, 100%, and you're not doing things you shouldn't be doing. Okay. Let's see. Agreed. I think that it's sad how society works. I mean, it's the same way in reverse with Asian people here in the States right now. People are treated mainly unfairly because they blame them or are scared. We saw that at the very beginning when people were afraid to go to like Chinatowns. It's disgusting, and it needs to be called out, both in the States and abroad. Yeah. Are surveillance tracking tight around your area, especially on foreigners? Yes. Just tonight, I got word from a friend who got a knock on the door. She's married to a local Chinese, and she was tested for COVID-19. They're going around to all the foreigners and testing the foreigners. Um, I talked about the fact that my car, it's a new car, or not new, it's a used car, but it's new to me, and I have a new license plate, and that license plate is attached to my phone number. It's attached to my passport, which is attached to my work permit and my address and everything. So every time I drive in the city, my photograph is being taken by, um, cameras everywhere. It's not just the speed cameras; there's surveillance cameras everywhere. And I don't know if it's in Zhongshan yet, but most of the first tier cities have facial recognition software that track you where you go. Now, there's not somebody behind a computer watching you everywhere you go. I mean, that's just ridiculous. But what it is if something were to happen and they need to find you, they can easily track you. So that's just life in China. And of course, you have like the crosswalk cameras. If you're caught crossing or if you're caught jaywalking, they'll take your photo and then they'll display it up. I actually have never seen a foreigner on that display, but. That sounds similar to Beijing. It's more about precaution in Beijing, but places are opening. Schools aren't open yet, but old people walk around with no masks. Most at risk, but don't seem to care. That's a different issue. You can talk about the old folks here. Here in Zhongshan, just about everyone's wearing a mask. There, if you are on the street riding your bike or something, you might see someone on an e-bike who's not wearing a mask. That's fine. I'm okay with that. But if you're in a public place, the mall, uh, a neighborhood street with lots of shops, a park, everyone's wearing masks. And if you don't wear a mask, you're publicly shamed. I mean, I remember I was walking into Walmart. I was just walking through the parking lot. I forgot to wear my mask. It skipped my mind. And one guy looked at me and said, "Hey, you, mask." And I'm like, "Oh yes, that's right. Thank you." I gave him a thumbs up, and he gave me a thumbs up, and I went back and got my mask. So you really feel kind of naked without it, without your mask. But when I was playing badminton, nobody was wearing a mask playing badminton. They were sweating all over the place. I don't know what to say about that. Okay, folks, anything else? I have been streaming now for an hour and 20 minutes. You have any last minute? It's coming up on midnight here, and tomorrow's Monday, and everybody works on Monday. Again, be on the lookout for some new videos that I've got coming out soon. I'll be editing them this week if I'm not doing online classes. We're going to see how that works out. Tomorrow's another meeting. We'll see if this online class thing is really going to happen for me or not. I really don't know. I hope to have some resolution on that soon. But my computer's working again. And thanks, everyone, for commenting. Please share my videos with everyone. Let's try and grow my channel if you can. I've never asked that to anyone ever in any of my videos. But, I think I'm at a point now where I'd like to see a little bit, a little bit of growth, I guess. So please share out there and share, like, and subscribe. All right. That being said, everyone, thank you so much. And Jacob, do you see yourself settling down for good in China? Right as I'm about to leave, you